The cold earth crumbled beneath Noah's fingers as he clawed at his father's grave, each trembling breath visible in the autumn twilight. "I should have said it when you were alive," he whispered, voice breaking. "I should have. Grief makes strangers of us all." Noah whipped around, finding himself face to face with an elderly man in an impeccable charcoal suit, leaning on a silver-tipped cane. The man's eyes, piercing blue, weathered by time but somehow familiar, studied him with an intensity that made Noah's skin prickle. "Who are you?" Noah demanded, rising to his feet, mud staining his worn jeans. "Why are you watching me?" The old man's hand trembled slightly on his cane. "Perhaps I'm searching for something I lost long ago." "Well, search somewhere else." Noah grabbed his backpack, shouldering past the stranger. "Your father," the man called after him, his voice catching.
"He had your same defiant chin." Noah froze mid-step, the cemetery mist swirling around his ankles. "You didn't know my father." "I knew him better than anyone." The old man extended a business card between two elegant fingers. "My name is Jonathan. When you're ready to hear the truth, call me." Noah snatched the card, crumpling it in his fist. The truth died with him. "No," Jonathan replied, eyes glistening with unshed tears.
"Sometimes, life returns to us what we believed was buried forever." Noah fled through the cemetery gates, the card burning in his palm like a forbidden secret. Behind him, Jonathan stood motionless among the tombstones, a solitary figure haunted by ghosts only he could see. At home, Noah's mother Elena was setting the table, her tired smile failing to mask the worry lines etched around her eyes. "You were at the cemetery again," she said, not a question. "I met someone there," Noah replied, studying her reaction carefully. "An old man named Jonathan, who claimed he knew Dad." The glass pitcher shattered against the floor, water spreading across the cracked linoleum like a flood. Elena's face had drained of all color. "Mom?" Noah reached for her trembling hand. "Who is he?" "No one," she whispered, dropping to her knees to gather the glass shards. "He's no one to us." But the tremor in her voice betrayed a storm of secrets waiting to break free. For 3 days, Noah carried the crumpled business card in his pocket, taking it out at odd moments to smooth its wrinkled surface. "Jonathan Blake," it read, with a phone number engraved in elegant script. On the 4th day, during the downpour that flooded Main Street, Noah spotted the sleek black car idling outside the diner where he washed dishes after school. As his shift ended, the window rolled down, revealing Jonathan's weathered face. "I waited for your call," the old man said simply. "I never promised to make one." Noah pulled his thin jacket tighter against the rain. "Get in. This storm won't let up soon. I'd rather drown." A crack of lightning illuminated Jonathan's sad smile. Stubborn, just like him. Noah hesitated, rain plastering his dark hair against his forehead. Something about the old man's eyes, that familiar blue, tugged at a memory he couldn't place. "5 minutes," Noah conceded, sliding into the leather passenger seat. "Then you tell me why you're stalking me." The car's interior smelled of expensive cologne and old regrets. Jonathan drove in silence, his knuckles white against the steering wheel. "I lost a son," he finally said, voice barely audible over the rain drumming against the roof. "Many years ago." "I'm sorry for your loss," Noah replied automatically. "But what does that have to do with me?" Jonathan pulled onto a scenic overlook above the town, the windshield wipers keeping metronomic time with Noah's heartbeat. "That son," Jonathan continued, reaching into his jacket pocket, "was your father." He handed Noah a faded photograph, a younger version of Jonathan holding a baby. "Lies," Noah whispered, but his hands trembled as he traced the infant's face, his father's face. "My mother said my grandfather died before I was born. To her, perhaps I did." Jonathan's eyes reflected the storm outside. "I might not be the man you expected to meet, but I am the man you need to know." Noah flung the car door open, tumbling out into the rain, "Stay away from me," he shouted over the thunder. "All of you! Nothing but liars!" He ran through the downpour, the photograph clutched in his fist, while Jonathan watched through the rain-streaked window, a single tear tracking down his lined cheek. Elena's face crumpled when Noah slammed the wet photograph onto their kitchen table. "How long were you planning to lie to me?" he demanded, voice cracking with betrayal. "Noah, please. Is he really Dad's father? Is that man my grandfather?" Elena sank into a chair, suddenly looking a decade older. "Yes," she whispered, the single word carrying the weight of 20 years of secrets. "Why? Why would you keep this from me?" "To protect you." Elena's hands twisted in her lap. "Jonathan Blake is a powerful man, but cold. He disowned your father when he chose to marry me, instead of the socialite Jonathan had selected." Her eyes hardened with remembered pain. "He told your father that marrying a waitress from the wrong side of town would be his greatest mistake." Noah paced the small kitchen. "So he abandoned Dad? And now he wants what? A second chance with me?" "People like Jonathan don't change," Elena warned. "They manipulate, they control. Whatever he wants from you." "Maybe he just wants to know me," Noah interrupted, surprising himself with the words. Elena's eyes filled with tears. "Your father tried to reconcile with him years later." Jonathan shut the door in his face. That night, Noah lay awake, torn between rage at the grandfather who had rejected his father and curiosity about the man who now sought him out. Outside his window, rain continued to fall, washing away certainties he had never questioned before. The next morning, a package waited on their porch, a leather-bound book of poetry with a note. "Your father's favorite." He would read this for hours in the garden. Noah traced the gilded edges, imagining his father, not as the hard-working man he'd known, but as a boy growing up in wealth, reading poetry among manicured roses. When he arrived at school, the principal called him into her office. "Congratulations," she beamed, handing him an envelope. "You've been awarded the Blake Scholarship, full tuition to any university of your choice." Noah stared at the foundation's embossed logo. "I never applied for this." "You didn't need to. It was arranged specially for you." The principal lowered her voice. "Do you know how fortunate you are? Mr. Blake rarely takes a personal interest in our students." That afternoon, Noah stormed into Jonathan's sprawling estate, past the startled housekeeper who tried to announce him. "Is this your game?" he shouted, finding Jonathan in a sunlit conservatory filled with orchids. "You think you can buy me with scholarships and old books?" Jonathan carefully set down his pruning shears. "I'm not trying to buy you, Noah." "Then what do you want from me?" "Time," Jonathan answered simply. "Whatever little I have left." For weeks, Noah resisted. He returned the poetry book. He tried to decline the scholarship. Yet Jonathan persisted, not with grand gestures, but with patient presence. A nod from his car when Noah left school. A sincere question about Noah's future when they crossed paths at the coffee shop. "He's dying," the housekeeper whispered one day when Noah came to return another gift, an antique watch that had belonged to his father. "The doctors gave him 6 months, maybe less." That night, Noah pressed his mother for more truth. "Why did Dad never talk about him?" Elena's shoulders sagged. "Your father was too proud and too hurt." She hesitated. But near the end, when the cancer got bad, he did try to reach out to Jonathan one last time. "What happened?" "Jonathan came to the hospital," Elena admitted reluctantly. "They spoke privately. I don't know what was said, but your father seemed at peace afterward." The following Sunday, Noah found himself ringing the doorbell of Jonathan's mansion, clutching a small box of homemade cookies, his father's recipe. Jonathan's eyes widened with surprise when he opened the door. "Noah, I thought maybe—" Noah swallowed hard. "Maybe we could talk." They sat in the garden, among orchids that Jonathan explained were named after Noah's grandmother. "I have something for you," Jonathan said, leading Noah to his study. A safe hidden behind a painting revealed a stack of letters bound with faded ribbon. Your father wrote these during the years we didn't speak. He never sent them. How did you get them? He gave them to me. That last day at the hospital. Jonathan's voice faltered, along with a recording. With trembling fingers, Jonathan pressed play on an old voice recorder. Noah's breath caught at the sound of his father's voice, weakened by illness, but unmistakable. "Dad," the recording began, "if you're listening to this, I finally found the courage to give you these letters. Not for forgiveness, it's too late for that. But so you'll know your grandson, Noah. He has your stubborn chin, your love of poetry, and a heart bigger than both of ours combined. Don't make the same mistake with him." The recording ended. Noah and Jonathan sat in silence, broken only by the ticking of the grandfather clock and their shared ragged breaths. "He never told me about the letters," Noah finally whispered, "or about seeing you. We were both too proud for too long," Jonathan replied, tears streaming freely down his weathered face. "I have wealth, power, this empty house, but I would trade it all for the years I lost with him. With you." As summer gave way to autumn, Noah began spending afternoons at the mansion, at first just reading his father's letters in the garden, then gradually sharing meals with Jonathan. They circled each other cautiously, two strangers connected by the ghost of a man they had both loved differently. "Your father built this birdhouse when he was 10, Jonathan said one day, showing Noah a lopsided wooden structure nestled in a massive oak tree. He declared he would become a carpenter instead of taking over the family business. "What did you say to that?" Noah asked, tracing the weathered wood with his fingertips. "I told him it was a ridiculous notion." Jonathan's eyes clouded with regret. "My father had said the same to me when I wanted to become a musician. I became the man he wanted, instead of the man I should have been. And I demanded the same of your father." One evening, as they shared dinner in the grand dining room, Noah noticed Jonathan's hand trembling as he lifted his water glass. "The treatments aren't working," Jonathan admitted when Noah questioned him. "But having you here, it's given me something I thought I'd lost forever." Noah felt an unexpected surge of panic. "You can't die now. I just found you." "We all die, Noah. The question is whether we truly lived." Jonathan reached across the table. "I failed at that once. I won't fail again." As Jonathan's health deteriorated, Noah found himself spending more time at the mansion, even sleeping in a guest room some nights. Elena visited reluctantly at first, then with growing compassion as she witnessed the genuine bond forming between her son and the dying man who had once rejected her. One stormy evening, mirroring the night they had first spoken in the car, Noah sat beside Jonathan's bed, reading aloud from the poetry book, their shared connection to the man who had brought them together. "Noah," Jonathan whispered during a pause, "there's something I need to tell you." "What is it?" "The company, the estate. I've left it all to you." Noah closed the book. "I don't want your money." "Not for the money," Jonathan insisted weakly, "for what you might do with it. The foundation that gave you that scholarship. I started it after your father died, to honor him, to make amends. You could expand it, help more young people like yourself." Noah stared at the rain lashing against the window, thinking of the opportunities the scholarship had opened for him, opportunities his father never had because of pride on both sides. "I'll consider it," he finally said, "but not for your sake or for the money. For Dad. And for the kid I was 3 months ago, washing dishes and thinking college was impossible." Jonathan smiled, reaching for Noah's hand. "You truly are your father's son, and so much more than I deserved in a grandson." 2 weeks later, they stood together at the cemetery, Noah supporting Jonathan's frail body as they placed flowers on his father's grave. "I was wrong that first day," Noah said softly. "The truth didn't die with him. It was just waiting for us to be ready to hear it." Jonathan's weathered hand tightened around Noah's. Sometimes the heart knows what the mind refuses to accept. As the autumn leaves swirled around them, Grandfather and grandson walked slowly back toward the waiting car, their shadows merging into one against the setting sun. "You have his smile, you know," Jonathan murmured. "When you laugh, it's like seeing him again." Noah didn't pull away. Instead, he steadied the old man's steps, accepting the weight of both their pasts and the fragile promise of their future, however brief it might be. "Tell me another story about him," Noah said. "Tell me everything I don't know." And as they drove away from the cemetery, Jonathan began to speak, his voice growing stronger with each memory shared, each moment reclaimed from the shadows of regret. Life had returned what they both thought was buried forever: a second chance. Would you open your heart to someone who once shut the door on your family? Like, subscribe, and share if you believe in second chances. New stories every week that will move your soul.